Well, we got a lot to go over, huh?
We do.
Yeah.
I don't have any of it written down.
A lot of music, a lot of stuff going on in general. That game last night,
Dude.
Fuck me.
I sent you that duck hunt gif, and then I come back. I was like, oh, they almost gonna know.
Yeah, almost got
no
there.
Time. There's just not enough time.
No. The back-to-back interception was a little wild.
Yeah.
Penix throwing one and then Bo Nix throwing one. I was like, damn. I was like, that might have been it.
Bo hit him right in the chest, too.
Oh, yeah, the umpire.
Oh, yeah, when he hit the ump.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, I was kind of hoping the ump to catch it, and then someone just go and fucking body slam the first
Ref turns up field.
Yeah. Just starts sprinting.
The beginning of the game?
Yeah, the first play for the Ducks.
That would have been a catch, too. He might have broke it.
Yeah, true.
I think I like the game, though, because I'm still a Duck fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it showed that Ducks were more prepared in the sense that Washington has been blowing out like all their teams that they played against.
Yeah.
But the Ducks were prepared to come back in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And it was close, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they went into the locker room
Gross.
and like figured shit out.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe talked about things and actually came back and gave it a run.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought that momentum was like 2010.
I knew.
What's going on?
Right. I was like, they're going to go into the locker room. Dan Lanny's going to lose his mind and
Shut up.
threaten violence on 3 generations of these boys' families.
Yeah.
And then they're going to come out and either continue to shit the bed or
Right.
make me believe again. And they did.
Yeah.
And then crushed my dreams.
Yeah.
As per usual.
What a way to wrap up the Pac-12, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a hell of a final championship game.
Mm-hmm.
That was nuts.
It was.
That was wild.
Your little tiny machine over there.
I know,
It's so
dude.
cute.
It's fucking wild.
Control was wild too.
Yeah. It's like it can stand upright too. So I'm gonna get like a shelf for it in the Switch up there.
Shit.
But we're back.
We are back.
We are back to wrap up the hip hop bracket of Whatchu Spinnin, the first bracket in our show's history. Then after today, we're right back to the original formula of 3 albums, 3 dudes, 2 weeks apart. As per usual, I'm Dorian, joined by Jake and Matt. We're back here at my place, fully moved in, got a nice little setup going, got my whole record setup going over here and all that fun stuff. We've got a fake fireplace going on the TV up here.
Very warm. Very
We are
warm.
high class.
And if, we need to have a serious conversation, maybe the lighting will change in here a bit,
Yeah.
This is like studio effects in here. But anyway, we got some other shit to go over before we dive into the hip-hop bracket.
Yeah, we do. What a week.
What a week.
What a week.
What a week.
What a week. It, we had the holiday. Always a fun time. I got to travel. Flew on a plane for the first time in a long-ass time.
Yeah.
Caught some snow.
Caught some snow. Listened to maps in an airport. Great.
Oh.
Great idea.
Great idea.
Wow.
I was like,
Jealous.
I was like, let me see what we got going on here. I was like, let me just play it. And dude, I was just like walking around Salt Lake Airport, just fucking do, and then just listening to maps. I was like, damn, this actually. I was like, I can tell that it was all like it made it like just even more cohesive and everything to me. I was like, damn.
Yeah, fuck
This is
music
a-
for airports, dude. Just listen to maps.
Yeah, right? Unless it's midnight and you're trying to sleep in an airport, maybe.
Yeah. No.
Not midnight, then.
Well, because it was funny, I walked because I had a lot of time to kill because I thought the international airport would be crazy for foot traffic. No, I literally just walked in 10 minutes after I got out of the car. I was in the airport, and as I found my seat and sat down at my gate, people just started pouring in and just the Kenny Siegel beats and everything for that, the filing of people. I was like, shout out Billy. I was like, this is rad.
Damn.
But speaking of music and all that stuff, shall we dive into the Spotify stuff?
Yeah.
Wrap it up, man.
Let's wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
It
dog.
came up again. It comes up once a year. Your Spotify Wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
And this year was a little bit more intuitive and a different spin on it, I think, than last year.
Yeah, it gave you the last. It was if you had a certain month that was high traffic for one artist, it would be in September you listen to a lot of The Cure or whatever, which I hadn't. Yeah, I don't think that was a thing last year. That was super neat. And then as always, it's very revealing to yourself and always a good time. I can go ahead and start if we want.
Start it off.
Dude.
All right, cool. Let's start it up. Let me go to my photos here. Okay. Do we want to do songs first or?
Yeah, we'll do songs and then.
Okay, artists first, or artists second, songs first. So my top songs for 2023. This is fucking wild.
Okay.
The top one makes perfect sense. Wait until I tell you the stats behind it, though. That's where it gets embarrassing. And one of these songs, it's ridiculous that it's even in here because of some other things. But anyway, number 5, we've got Young Lust by Pink Floyd, Off of the Wall.
Okay.
Shout out.
Okay. I can see that.
I think it was because that was in a playlist that was very small for a while, and so it just kept getting shuffled.
It's always in the blend.
It is always in the blend.
So I think it just, because of the blend, and then one of the playlists, let's like, that I have, it just continued to get played. Because that one I was like, I don't think I authentically listened to Young Lust that much. I was like, if anything, it would be Happiest Days of Our Lives if we're going a wall cut. But the wall being on there, it all makes sense. Number 4, What You Said by Isaiah Rashad, featuring Doechii and Cal Banks.
Love that.
That makes perfect sense.
Banger.
I listen to that like once every other day. Like
yeah. Summertime, I was playing that almost daily.
Right. And then speaking of maps, number 3, we've got Soft Landing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quick.
That's what I said.
Damn.
That's what I said.
Because that album came out, what, like...
March?
Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Came out May 5th.
Yeah.
So yeah, Soft Landing by Billy Woods. Number 2, Dogs by Pink Floyd.
Yeah, what's the stat on that one? That's a long ass.
Which is nuts, because that song's fucking almost 18 minutes long. And then the number 1 song for me this year, which is also nuts that it made it, because the song came out in March, is The Summoning by Sleep Token. I listened to that like 3 times a day for like 3 weeks straight, so I probably got it all done within the first 3 weeks of that song being out. Listen to that song 135 times between March.
I thought my count was higher for that song.
Damn.
It was like March 29th to November. I listened to that 135 times.
Jesus, man.
Awesome.
Because I was showing it to everybody, man. I was like showing it to everybody, listening to it all the time. So those are my... Let's each do our songs and we'll each do our artists. Okay. So whoever wants to go next can go next.
I can go next.
Mine's pretty similar to Dorian's.
Mine, let me go to my Wrapped here. Mine, honestly, it was, I kind of saw it coming just because I would put this playlist on every time I went to the gym. So it makes sense that it was on here. But my songs, number 5, To the Floor. It's a song with Bad, and it's like a EDM song. They're all EDM songs, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Wow, okay.
4 is Bluff by Yune Pink. Yune Pinku, it's a weird name, but also EDM. Is You, Over Mono.
Yeah.
So that made it.
I was going to say Over Mono.
That was my number 3.
I was thinking of, when you said Is You, I was thinking of Is Us by Aphex Twin. I was like, no fucking way. I was like, dude, I love that song.
Would have been it too, but
Is You.
Is You, Over Mono. And then number 2, Maria, Fred Again.
There you go.
We Lost Dancing. And then my top song was, let me get that here. I want to see how many times I listened to it. It was another Fred Again song. Hannah.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Yeah, my top song was Hannah the Sun by Fred Again, which I played. I'll tell you right now. Where does it go? I had 6,720 songs I listened to.
Damn.
Throughout the year. I played Hannah 50 times throughout this year, starting the most in March.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I like it.
That's cool.
A lot of Fred Again. I dig it.
A lot of Fred Again. A lot of EDM, like dance, because that's typically what I listen to when I'm working out.
There you go.
It's like high, keeps the beat going, keeps me moving. So
yeah.
Bring out more of those artists so we can.
Yeah.
What you know.
I will.
I feel like it's interesting to kind of think about that, because you probably don't listen to Spotify a lot, like, because Matt and I have the ability to do it at work, so that adds to ours.
Yeah. Probably.
And then you, I assume, just like spin stuff a lot at home. Like you can probably mainly spin stuff, where I kind of do a mix of both. And then you're like working out and driving. So that's like probably, that makes perfect sense that you just got absorbed.
I typically listen to it like on my drives and like if I'm cooking and if I feel lazy, or especially working out, like that's the only time I listen to it. And it makes sense.
Record player set up to the gym.
My speakers, everything.
Got something set up right here.
Don't touch it.
You using this? I'm using this bench press real quick.
It makes sense though, because like every time that I work out, like I put that playlist on because it just like, keeps me moving.
Keeps you going.
Oh yeah.
I'm interested though if that playlist wasn't in it, what it would be like.
Right.
But I have my genres, but
Yeah, that makes sense. That's different than what I thought it was going to be. I like kind of tried to guess everybody's, and I was like, Jacob's going to have some weird. I was like expecting like Quelle Chris or something like that, like at least something like that. Not what I thought.
It did crack my list, but not top 5.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah. It's also cool to look at like the playlist that it creates for you, so you can kind of see like 1 through 10 basically. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, so there was some other stuff that got in there.
Right, that is cool.
Yeah. What do you got, Matt?
Well, this year, May 5th was a turning point in my life. Where I was introduced to Billy Woods full on and like just absorbed that to the fullest. So that kind of sums up my top 5. But starting with Soft Landing, number 5. Black Sunlight, number 4. And I think it's because I listened to Maps in entirety so many times. But Kenwood Speakers is number 3. Number 2 is Rapper Weed. And then I listened to the Summoning 72 times.
There you go. Let's go.
Damn. Starting in March. And it still sounds perfect. Yeah.
It still sounds so good.
Damn.
But a lot of Maps tracks on there, which I was like, but I did listen to that album when it came out, like almost like on my walks every day. And just like continuing to work. So
yeah.
Just love that album.
Yeah.
That's why I got 2 copies.
That's why like when I was looking at the playlist that it made, there's in my top 10, I think there's like 1 or 2 other Map songs in there, and I was like, it kind of does put into perspective. It's like, shit, I did listen to Soft Landing like to start out my drive to work, to start out my drive home, to run to the corner store for 3 minutes, just a litany of shit, and then also you turn to music for various reasons, and so Soft Landing and The Summoning were huge songs for me this like past summer and everything, because I mean it's only been summer since they came out, but shout out.
I knew those 2 albums would be huge for me. I didn't think they would be that impactful to be like on my top 5 to like that's all I listen to pretty much.
That's it.
Listen up, guy.
Well, I did.
Yours is a variety. Ours is just like,
mine is all EDM mainly, but it's different artists. You guys, I noticed this too in our blend that we have. If you click on, like, it gives our regular blend that was throughout the week, but then it also gives you like a year, where it gives us a rap.
Oh, really?
And it was like all that album. It was all Maps. Like, literally, a majority of it was all Maps. Like if you go like where it says 23 rap top songs.
Oh, right up there.
Oh shit!
Click on that, and it's all Maps.
All Maps. Take Me Back to Eden.
Yeah, Take Me Back to Eden. Like,
not bad.
So I got a little bit sneak peek from you guys. I was like, let me see this. I was like, okay, a lot of Maps.
Yeah.
A lot of Sleep Token.
Hey man, fell in love with it. It was good shit.
It was good stuff.
It also gave you like these weird characteristics on there where it was like mine was like you listened to whole albums, like you were really into doing that, and I was like, yeah, motherfucker, that's like our whole thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to.
Yeah, it's like,
in order for this to go remotely well. Right, so that was hilarious. And then I kind of wish, my one thing is I wish it would do that for, like, if it detected that, it would give you like your top 5 albums, because mine would have been Taking Back to Eden, Maps, Haram, Iowa probably.
Question for you guys: how many minutes did you guys listen? You guys are probably nuts because you guys listen to it at work. I had 68,000 minutes listened, and I listened to 162 genres.
I listened to 2,813 songs.
Holy shit!
I didn't say that one.
1,132 artists.
Oh, music listening, 95,000.
Holy shit!
35,000
35,000 minutes.
95.
Jesus.
Yeah, I had 68. Damn, you fucking knocked me out of the water.
I had 38.
38,000?
Uh-huh.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about songs, we've talked about minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What about artists?
Okay, top artist. All right, let me go ahead and start that bad boy off.
This is more of a variety for me, which I was a little bit more happy with.
Mine has something that my top 5 put one thing in perspective for me, and I'll go over that after I go through my top 5. So this is also a little bit more variety, but it's hilarious. Number 5 for me, Quaz. Good old Quasi
Nice.
freaking Moto.
Love it.
Number 4, Local Boys, a band by the name of Floater.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yep.
Nice.
Number 3, Arm & Hammer.
See
Good.
that?
Number 2, Billy Woods.
Mm.
Number 1, surprised the hell out of me, Pink Floyd.
Oh, that was in. Oh, wow.
And I was in the top 0.5% of listeners of Pink Floyd the
Whoa.
past year. I listened to Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, and Animals like the whole fucking ever since we
The whole
saw
year. Yeah.
ever since we saw Floater, I just listened to all of it. And then Floater, that's the second year in a row Floater's been in my top 5 favorite artists for Spotify Wrapped. So officially, that's I've always said Floater's one of my top 3 favorite bands. That's proof in the pudding right there.
There it is.
But yeah, so we got Quaz, Floater, Arm & Hammer, Billy Woods, Hilarious, and then Pink Floyd.
Damn.
Nice.
Okay. Mine, it still has some familiar faces from last year,
Nice.
but some new ones. So number 5, Daniel Caesar.
There you go. He was last year too, I think, wasn't he?
No, last year it was all hip hop.
Yeah.
It was all hip hop. But I got Daniel Caesar. R&B
Nice.
was in one of my most new genres.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Melody Symphony.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
So
I like
interesting,
that.
a lot of that. Number 3, K-Tronada.
Nice.
Once again, more EDM, more
Mhm.
dance. Number 2, Alchemist.
Okay,
I
good
love
stuff.
me. I love me some Alchemist. Number 1, for the second year in a row,
West Side fucking
West Side Gun.
2 years in a row is your number
Unironic,
one.
yeah, unironic. Actually, no, I think last year was Alchemist, but he was number 2 or 3.
I think it was. We can pull the
Unironically.
tapes on that.
Unironically, he's number 1 on
That's
my
awesome.
list. I don't like him as a rapper. I just like his features. He has some crazy features and beats.
Mm-hmm.
That's really why he's in my top, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. You don't gotta hate. You don't gotta. Hey,
No,
we got our guilty pleasures.
I'm trying to fucking song.
The Summoning was my top song, dude.
Yeah.
That was
You
not.
played it 5,000 times.
Triple damage, dog. Triple damage.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Idols is number 5.
Nice.
Nice.
New band that I fell in love with recently. Kenny Siegel, probably because of Maps and Hiding Places.
Yeah.
Number 3, Brian Eno, which no surprise. Number 2, Arm & Hammer, and then of course I was at 0.5 for Billy Woods and listeners.
Oh,
We spent about 4,700 minutes together.
that's
Whoa.
wild. Speaking of that, you know how it did you listen to music from all over the world, but people listen to this in your blend of music
spot.
in this particular spot? I'm pretty sure mine just pinpointed Matt because it highlighted, it did Floater, Kenny Siegel, and Billy Woods. Those were the 3 pictures it showed, but then it pulled up some Pink Floyd, and it was people in Eugene, Oregon listen to this, and I was
No.
I work right now. I was yeah, it's the guy I
That's
live
Matt.
I fucking work
That
next to.
pinpointed Matt.
I was I know who it is.
What the fuck? It's just a little picture of Matt.
AI is working its magic. It's cool.
It was hilarious.
Mine went to Long Beach, California or something.
Sounds about right.
For Pink Sifu, K-Tronada, and someone else.
Nice.
But that was mine.
Rock on.
Cool. I like that they do that.
Yeah.
I was hoping it'd be somewhere not in the U.S. but-
Right. Can you text me your screenshots of the artists and songs so I can put it in the episode?
Yes.
Cool.
Definitely.
Okay. That was fun as fuck, as per usual. Do we want to... Let's take a brief little break, and then we'll go on in to the final part of the bracket.
Go, bracket's getting broken down.
It's getting broken down. We'll be right back. Let's go ahead and
That stain off your shirt.
let's go ahead and let's get some stain remover going. We're gonna go ahead and get right on into this bad mamma jamma known as the first ever hip hop bracket here on Whatchu Spinnin. We'll go ahead and just blast through the matchups real quick. I'll just say them what they are, and then we'll go into them one by one. First matchup of the day, we've got ATLiens by Outkast going up against 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang. That's gonna suck.
It is. This whole thing sucks. Let's just stop.
Mm-hmm. I say we just stop the whole thing. We just never make another episode. This is it. It
No,
just goes.
I
It just.
hate that.
It just goes to like the rainbow lines when your
Yeah.
TV fucks up.
Static.
Up next we have Ready to Die versus Pray for Haiti by Notorious B.I.G. and m.a.a.d respectively. That finishes up our left-hand side of the bracket, the Elite Eight as it's called in the business. Onto the next side of the bracket, we have Haram versus Good Kid, m.a.a.d City. Armand Hammer versus Kendrick Lamar in that one. And then in the last matchup of the day, we've got All Eyez on Me by Tupac going up against Black on Both Sides by Mos Def. That's another toughie. I think there's only one slightly easy matchup in this whole thing. Only one that I can predict what I can think is going to happen. But I thought that last time, and I got fucking dog walked by you two. So
We're good at that.
I got wrecked. I have a couple albums that are left that I picked that I'm going to have to champion behind just so I feel, I don't know, something. Just so I feel alive. Anyway,
Something.
just so I feel something. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right on into it. First matchup, ATLiens, which I believe was...
Me and you.
That was Jake.
Yo, mom and your cousin too. ATLiens.
Mm-hmm.
Outkast.
Versus 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang.
36 Chambers, man. This
Again.
sucks already.
I feel like Wu-Tang has gone up only against groups at this
They
point.
went against Tribe, and then what was it before that?
Or no, it went up against Nas and then Tribe, and now it's okay. So 2 out of its 3 matchups have been.
We are again.
Jesus, man. I was re-listening to 36 Chambers the other
I
day.
meant to do that, and I haven't.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. So many good songs start to finish, man. Everything about it. They're so fresh. They're so new.
Mm-hmm.
They still sound that way, you know?
Yeah.
It's timeless.
I can't, man. Wu-Tang, I mean, I put them in this bracket for a reason, because they are
Yeah.
Wu-Tang. When you think of hip-hop, when you think of hip-hop groups, they are the hip-hop group.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're 50 members that they have, and like all their, like it starts off just bang after banger. Bring the Ruckus, Clan in the Front, 7th Chamber, Can It All Be So Simple, Mystery Chess Boxing, Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. Like, it just keeps on rolling.
And those are all like, it's wild having like your 6 biggest songs off of one album. Like all of those songs you listed off are their biggest songs.
Yeah, and
like,
it keeps going. Like, that's not it. Like, you have Cream in there, like probably one of the biggest
more
hip hop
popular
songs
songs,
of
yeah.
all times. Methods Man, his introduction to coming into rap is like unheard of.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
We quote it all the fucking
get
time.
off my side, dude.
Protect your neck. You know, like, it's unbelievable, man.
It's just,
They just convinced everybody in the world
yeah.
of what the picture
We might be able just to get.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly, because I think when you say it that way from start to finish, ATLiens is a great album, but it doesn't have that fluidity. I think a lot of the albums after that one by Outkast do. I love ATLiens.
I do too.
I love, yeah.
But I think when you started, like you just explained with the Wu-Tang album, like all these tracks are just solid. People know them all. And I feel like the hardcore Outkast fans might know that about this ATLiens album, but when you stack them against each other, I think it's hard to convince me that Outkast wins this matchup.
Yeah.
That's crazy to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane to say.
It
Because
is insane.
ATLiens is
Uh-huh.
a fucking
It is.
staple,
Yeah.
dude. It's in my Mount Rushmore of hip hop
it is.
albums.
Me too. It
Yeah.
is definitely there.
But I think out of the, like, just to bring up the 3 albums that we covered by Outkast on that episode, I don't think ATLiens is the one out of those three. If you put any of them in this spot, it's tough to call that anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't think ATLiens would be the one to blow off a 36 chambers.
No, I don't think
Like,
so.
but
Yeah.
you are, Matt, you put a bow, like you put the nail or hit the nail on the head perfectly with, and unless you're like a super heavy hip hop head or Outkast fan, you don't like the deeper level of appreciation that you can get for ATLiens is kind of off by the wayside, unfortunately, because it's a banger.
It is.
Like Elevators, I think one of us has said me and you
Right, yeah.
at least once per episode since we started this fucking
It was always
thing.
Matt. Yeah.
But
13th floor growing old. I mean, so
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
Strain.
Waylon.
Yeah.
Waylon, yeah.
There's a lot of deep cuts.
There
More
are.
on
Decatur
ATLiens.
songs. Fuck.
More on
Yeah.
ATLiens than there are on 36 Chambers. Because 36 Chambers, every song is like iconic.
Mm-hmm.
The ATLiens, it's a lot more deeper cuts. It's very less, why do you even say features? Because Wu-Tang Clan is a whole feature group.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Yeah.
they're all individually, it's like a super group. So,
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, that's my vote.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, goddamn, two of the biggest duo. I mean, we had the two biggest duos to do it. We have the biggest rap group to do it in the bracket. I'm glad that duos got represented this hard.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, if Tribe can't do it, let at least ATLiens will have a fighting fucking chance. It kind of did not, unfortunately, but shout out Wu-Tang. It moves on to the next round.
Here we go.
That
I don't
was
even
insane.
vote. It's not that it would have mattered.
I figured you would. You were the one who started everybody. I think your emboldened, passionate speech got me to turn. I was like,
one of those last time we were together.
Yeah.
And we're just like, oh yes.
I was like, all right,
Yes.
yeah. I was like, you put it actually
I
perfectly.
got up on the podium.
Yeah.
Fucking,
I was like, I got nothing else to say. But no, do you vote?
I would give ATLiens a pity vote.
The pity
I
vote,
really
yeah.
do think.
You're right.
I think, okay, Big Boy
Mhm.
is fantastic. Andre, he is one of my favorite lyricists of all time.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think he deserves that pity vote.
Yeah, no, 100%. Based off,
I think anywhere else in the bracket, it would have gone farther.
yeah,
But ATLiens just got put in a fucking dead end with that album right next to it.
Yeah.
So,
it kind of just got bellied up. But
Mhm.
who knows? We'll see what happens next round to 36.
ooh.
But we got to figure out what it's going up against first. So that brings us right up to our next matchup of the day, which is my pick. One of the best, one of the biggest, one of the greatest.
Oh my god.
1994 is Ready to Die by the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie motherfucking Smalls going up against Jake's pick.
Makami for Haiti.
If you weren't going to do it, I was going to do it myself.
I was gonna do it. I still have to show this off every time.
Oh, yeah.
Picture disc.
Mhm.
Pretty fucking sick. You go ahead.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
You go
All right.
do your thing.
Well, if we're going to start off that way, you ain't doing it to me 2 episodes in a row. I'm not voting
It's
for
on now.
I'm not voting Pray for Haiti over something I know is better.
Fair enough.
Or not better, but that it sucked me in the last time around. This one,
Yeah.
it didn't have the same effect. I was like, hey, appreciate the like 3.5 week run I had with you. I'll come back to you another time, but I don't think I can support you in this next round up against my boy Big.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a solid argument.
Yeah.
it's just Biggie has always been like the amount of appreciation I have for Biggie over any rapper, like not even to say like it, that's not to say that he's my favorite rapper, because I put him in like my top 3 for sure, but that's not really definitive for me, like who my favorite rapper is of all time. It kind of changes.
Yeah.
But he's in there. But the amount of like respect and appreciation I have for him over many, like most other rappers, including Tupac, I don't like to get into those arguments with people because
No, I don't think you can.
gets-
I think
yeah.
I think it's convoluted, and I think
Yeah.
it's more of a taste and more of what you remember when you first heard either one of those artists, and you cling to one. You don't cling to both. I
Yeah.
don't think.
You get exposed. I feel like it's also a matter of like exposure with those two. It's like whatever you get exposed to, because it's not like I'm a West Coast guy. I grew up on the West Coast, but East Coast is my shit for some reason, and because it was something I was more exposed to.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, m.a.a.d to be at this point in the bracket is fucking bananas.
It is
I
crazy.
didn't think Pray for Haiti would be here, honest. I didn't think it would get past. I was really banking on everybody voting Run the Jewels. I was like, I feel like that was a good matchup for me.
Yeah.
Clearly was not. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Pray for Haiti and everything. It's a fantastic album. I love getting to get into that. And, you know, West Side Gun, that was kind of like my introduction to both. So, but yeah, I mean, you can't, I don't know if I can't do that to myself.
I don't know if I can either. Like, I have a lot of appreciation for what m.a.a.d does, and especially for the underground, because he's just so, it's like keeping hip-hop moving. Like, it's keeping hip-hop, you know, creative and fun, just the way that he's doing it. Because I love that, not only just how he raps and, you know, who he produces with and everything, but his, like, marketing approach to his music is crazy. Like, back in the days, if you think about it, like, hip-hop, like, you had to be out there. You had to be out in the streets. You had to give out your mixtape, you know, give out your CD. Here, listen to this. See if you like it. Nowadays, with, you know, with social media, with the internet, if you get a fan base and they're loyal enough, they will pay for whatever it is that you have.
Yep.
And it's crazy that he kind of created that for himself. Like, he created his own monopoly where he controls his own market. He puts a value on his thing, and people fucking buy it. Like, that's what's crazy about it. And I like that it's like a business mindset that he has to it.
Kudos to him for, you know, recognizing that.
That is so different, because that's bizarre to think of. Like a hip hop artist, like an artist in general, selling something for $1,000.
Yeah.
Like,
I think with the streaming of music and not having the album sales as much as they did maybe in the 80s and 90s, you have to make money off your merchandise. Whether it's a vinyl record that you're selling for $1,000,
Yeah.
or ticket sales that are a lot more than they used to be. That's how they make their money now. It's sad, but
yeah, it is to a point. It is kind of like douchey, because you're like, wow, why are you selling it for such a crazy amount?
yeah. But if you know those things,
But if you know that that's your fan base and they're that loyal to the core, like, you can do that.
Yeah.
And I admire his ballsiness for that.
Yeah. It's a hell of a, like I kind of mentioned in the last episode, it's almost like a social experiment, you know?
Yeah.
To kind of be like, how
deep does this go? How high can I put the value on it?
Right.
yeah.
Because music as an art form is something that's like, the appreciation of it as such is very wavering a lot of the time, especially nowadays with how easy it is for Joe Schmo to become the next fucking David Bowie.
Sure.
But so yeah, it is kind of interesting to be like, how can I spin this to like be sold as like, you know, a Van Gogh piece kind of, or a Basquiat, you know?
He does have that, like, kind of a lot more artsy of it. Like, it's more of an art form how he does it. But I'm gonna be real. I was listening to Ready to Die. Like, I was listening to that on the way here.
Yeah.
Machine Gun Funk, dude. Oh my god. Biggie is such a hip hop head to the core. Like, everything, his raps, everything that he does, lyrics for that, it's like, I ain't Christopher William, still some MCs gotta feel one, caps I gotta peel some. And then, you know, like, just the way he flows, like, his delivery, he's like such a pure hip hop fucking rapper, dude. Everything about him, he's like, to a T is hip hop. He is hip hop, dude.
And just the way he can get locked into like a beat, you know, and it just seems so effortless the way that he'll switch his flow up between bar to bar and everything, you know, like all over Juicy, Big Papa, you know, Everyday Struggle. There's parts where he's like basically doing it without a drum track at all, and you're like, Jesus Christ, like he's going insane. And just like the way that he really created like just fantastic music based around, you know, his story. And it's one of the, if you listen to it as a storytelling piece, which it kind of is, it's brilliantly put together between him and, unfortunately, I'm so on the fence about whether or not I like Puff Daddy or not, but it's like what they did with this was fucking unreal.
Yeah, dude.
Like what they managed to pull off with Ready to Die was fucking bananas back in '94.
Yeah, I think Diddy definitely helped a lot on this album, but man, you have songs like Who Shot Ya?
Oh my god.
Big Papa. Like, he has these like very like deep cuts, like East Coast
Warning.
beats. And then he has like these other beats that they're bouncy, like Big Papa. You kind of get that G-funk feel, West Coast, like, dude.
It's, and then, you know, just the lyricism on tracks like Warning, Who's This, Paging Me at 546, Give Me the Loot, Young Biggie versus Old Biggie on that song. But Where the Money At, in the Isuzu Jeep, like just the crazy, just wild shit. It just gives me goosebumps thinking about it at this point. Like, I just can't. The fact that like this was one whole piece is just so insane.
21-year-old Biggie Smalls.
It just crushes.
Yeah.
Drops one of the biggest albums of musical history. Like,
so when I was listening to this, I sold myself. I'm like, how the fuck did Pray for Haiti make it this far just to get slam dunked on by this?
Yeah. That's like, well, that's the thing that I was in love with this leading up to last episode with Pray for Haiti, and then it's like, now that it's going up against it's like I'm watching my stepson and my real son fight, and I'm like, I mean, you and I just had a great fishing trip, but I hope my son beats the shit out of you. Like my kid's gonna beat the dick off you,
I don't
dude.
think it holds a candle to Biggie.
Yeah.
So
that's your vote?
Yeah.
Big?
I don't even have to say much because I think you guys summed it up.
Sorry.
No, that's not a bad thing. I think it's just a well said point by both of you that, you know, Ready to Die stands out in its own right. It's one of the best albums in that genre of all time.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. And this album by m.a.a.d is unique in its own right and stands out as well. But when you have to compare them and they're fighting to the death,
You
and
can't.
this is a hip hop bracket, Ready to Die moves on hands down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I vote Ready to Die also. m.a.a.d, though, one of the best albums that I've been introduced to because of this podcast.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I do also hold the same kind of appreciation because that was like Matt's first episode.
Yep.
A lot of like, I introduced everybody to Slipknot, which was kind of like a cool thing for me to introduce y'all to one of my favorite bands, you know, so very fun time back then. So as a memory holding piece, hell yeah. I was training you at the branch at the time, remember? Like I was like, oh yeah, like now you can like, we can listen to stuff like while I train you. Like, fucking, we were listening to Floater and Makami, wild. But yeah, Ready to Die moves on and will go up against 36 Chambers when we revisit that side of the bracket.
Silly.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
For a matchup.
Mm-hmm. I am 2 for 2 so far.
Okay.
Good.
Nice job.
We'll go ahead and take a brief break before we jump to the next side of the bracket. I don't know. It's definitely not. It's like hardcore electronic, I guess. It's like hardcore
like
electronic from fucking, I think it's like France or something. I don't know where they're from, but they're interesting. It's like a duo.
Like jungle music.
Almost. It popped up on my day list. I had a day list that was fucking wild one day. That bitch was nuts. It was like one of the Tuesday. It was like Tuesday something. Dude, the Tuesday ones is when it gives me, apparently I made a habit of listening to like electronic adjacent stuff, and so it gave me one day, like, this one was particularly crazy because it had Machine Girl in it, it had Rez, Oizo, like pretty electronic stuff, and then it had like Herbie Hancock and like Grateful Dead.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I discovered like 6 songs that I've been obsessed with from that one day playlist. I was like, holy shit.
Ew.
But enough about that. I was just playing some stuff for him in our little break there. Good old Machine Girl. Check out the album Wolf Girl. Pretty great. Probably bring it up here on the podcast at some point. Anywho. We're moving on to the other side of the bracket with, for personal reasons, probably one of the hardest matchups on the bracket.
Hey, don't say that.
For me to decide.
Okay. All right.
For me to decide. I've got something up my sleeve for this, so we'll go ahead and I can introduce both sides because I did bring up both.
Good.
But Arm & Hammer's Haram going up against Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, M.a.a.d City. Jesus Christ. This is in my opinion, two perfect albums going up against each other. I love both of these albums for wildly similar reasons, but also vastly different. Have a deep appreciation for both for various reasons. I feel like I've said both of those ad nauseum at this point, both when we covered them on this podcast. Clearly we have an appreciation for them from that standpoint, and the fact that they are in the second half of the Elite Eight here. I'll fight for whichever one I feel needs a little bit of fighting for, but I have a feeling I know how this is going to go for me personally. Okay. I'll pass it off. I do have one little thing up my sleeve to pull out, but...
Special guest?
No. Fucking...
Who's in the background?
Kendrick?
Bring it! Kendrick. It's the fucking Alchemist! Fucking he comes out of the floor just like Michael Jackson.
I see the smoke machine in the corner, dude. No, I'm curious about this because I know that, I mean, for you, you're probably more appreciative to both of these. Mm-hmm. I kind of lean more towards one way, I think. But I'm curious to what you're going to vote for because I think I have my mind. It's like, it's loading, but it's like 80-90% there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but it says ready to start. Classic Xbox stuff.
Classic Xbox.
It says ready to start, but it's not fully done.
I don't know, Matt, what do you think?
I think it's difficult because it's a different hip-hop genre in this matchup.
Yes.
And so I think when you label it that way, you have to appreciate it for that fact, and that being Kendrick's debut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
major label.
It's a great album for his debut.
Yeah.
But the Arm & Hammer album is start to finish. Alchemist, like it's a whole journey. So you can't really say, well, it's a better album because it's not. I mean, they're very equally awesome and introspective and unique and lyrically amazing on both sides. So for me, I don't know if I'm going to lean one way. I think I appreciate them both, but when I have to vote, I think I know which way I want to go.
Right.
But I want to hear what you guys have to say, too, about your arguments, because I think you're going to put up good defenses for each one.
I do appreciate the journey, because part of this, you can see Kendrick, he's still very fresh. Like, he did a mixtape before this, but it's still very fresh Kendrick, like one of his first time actually, doing something big and having the money for it. Whereas with Arm & Hammer, they have so many albums. They've built up like kind of this like style that they have, how they rap, which is a testament in the opposite in the opposite way, right? Like Kendrick putting out Good Kid, M.a.a.d City at that age is fucking bananas. Arm & Hammer, both Billy Woods and Elucid being this deep in the game, coming together to put this out is unreal, because they're like 45 now, like when this came out. They're like almost 50. They're definitely old heads. But I think it's cool that they still have that like passion in them to keep putting out great stuff, like really good stuff. And I like that they kind of, at this point, it was kind of a turning point for them, I'd say, in the sense that they were doing a lot of underground stuff, with Kenny Siegel, with the g.o.o.d, like these other producers, but for them to get like a big name producer like Alchemist, it opened their like field of listeners to a lot more people. Right. That's how I found out about them, at least. And I know that a lot more people did too because of that medium. But Kendrick, on the other hand, he went straight into the spotlight with this album. It was straight out there. Everyone was listening to it.
The Dr. Dre cosign did kind of help that.
Definitely.
I mean, not to discredit, but
no.
But that helped immensely get him like at least hip hop community recognition for the who was left that didn't hear Section 80 at the time, myself included.
Same.
But it's just, man, that's why it's so fucking difficult, because I literally, this was my note taking today, was figuring out this matchup. That was I came in here and I just did the bracket, and then I left this one undone, but I was in my, by the time I sat down to do it, I was like, I'm so familiar with these albums, I know which one I can pick. And then this one, I was like, I can't. I was like,
Yeah.
and I woke up hella early, so I was able to legitimately dedicate 2 hours of my morning listening to both of these back to back. And Jesus Christ, man. And just thinking about like the memories that I've had just in the past 2 years with Arm & Hammer, you know, and like thinking of the show and everything. I was like, Jesus, like, I was like looking at the fucking pictures. I was like, Jesus, man, like that was nuts. And then I was thinking of like years of shit with Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
But it was like the visceral reaction that I had from both of them this morning was pretty unreal.
Yeah.
Thinking about that, I was like, damn, this is when I first heard Arm & Hammer, like things were pretty different for me than they are now. And when I was first getting into hip hop and I fell in love with Good Kid, Mad City, I was fucking 17. I was like 16 years old, like barely. So I was like, both of these albums are like huge for me in that regard.
Yeah.
So that's also, it's like I said, for me, it's personal at this point. Like, I'm like, fuck.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm kind of come from that same scene too, because like I felt like I was present and I was like still very much listening to Kendrick when he was coming out and everyone was talking about him. And then even more recently now with Arm & Hammer, like, you know, just us being into that whole group, that whole scene, and then going to see them live, it just fucking kept putting my love for them like up and up. And you know, I still listen to a lot of their stuff individually, together.
Yeah.
So I've appreciated them more recently for sure.
Yeah. Same.
But longevity wise, I mean, it's fucking Kendrick.
Yeah. That's the same thing that's been happening to me. I was like, man, like Arm & Hammer's been my shit. I mean, literally, Billy Woods and Arm & Hammer were in my rap that we talked about. Like, I'm fucking...
I get a not vote.
Yeah.
And Kendrick is, like, we're still very much seeing, you know, him being the face of, you know, recent hip-hop. I love that, too. I forgot to bring this out last other two picks that we were talking about, but a lot of, you know, prime time, what people consider the golden age of hip hop, you know, that 90s school, like 90s hip hop. But now you're seeing this and it's keeping it moving. It's keeping the chains rolling.
Yep. 100%.
So,
yeah.
Fuck, man.
That's the thing. I literally, you know, I've mentioned it a couple of times that you would almost have to do this thing in order to decide an album, and I fucking did it. I went down and compared song by song for Arm & Hammer and Good Kid, Mad City this morning, and picked out highlights. And let me just point some things out for y'all.
Okay.
First off, Haram, insane start. The first 5 fucking songs. From Sir Benny Miles all the way down, that was a nice ass catch. I was like, I am not gonna not mention that. That was fucking sick. Sir Benny Miles, all the way through Aubergine. Stupid run.
Black Sunlight, everything.
Particularly Black Sunlight through that 3-song run is
she's great.
Dumb. Then God's Feet, Pepper Tree, Falling Out the Sky is a nuts song. Elucid and Billy Woods, arguably best verses on the whole album. But wait, there's more. You get songs like fucking Squeegee. Then you get Robert Moses and Stone Fruit to end the album. Are you kidding me? Stone Fruit wrapping up the album. Chicharrones with that creepy ass beat. Stone Fruit with Billy Woods' best verse in my opinion on it. Bananas. You've got that going up against Good Kid, Mad City. Where do we fucking begin? You get Shireen Master Splinter's daughter. Great introduction to the story. Starts out with that crazy, with like the cell phone call sample. Nuts. The beat on that, Banana Land. Then you get Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. One of the biggest songs for the past fucking decade.
Definitely for Kendrick.
You let me keep going. Backseat Freestyle. If you were in high school in 2010 to 2015, you definitely smoked a backwood rolled by a fucking band member that played trombone listening to Backseat Freestyle. The Art of Peer Pressure. One of my favorite songs of all time. Money Trees, J-Rock's best feature verse of all time. The beat on that, nuts. Poetic Justice, great.
Come on.
If you like Drake, I do love that song still. Good Kid, decent track. Mad City, one of the hardest beat switches of 2014. 2000 12 when this came out. I just said 2014. Jesus Christ.
Swimming pools.
Swimming Pools extended. Because the single was huge, and then that second, the beat switch on that song, Nuts, leading into Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst.
That counts for like 5 points.
Yeah. You get the end of Swimming Pools into, like, that sample where he's like, they killed my fucking brother, man, I'm tired of this shit, I'm tired of running. Like, dude, I fucking sat here, I was like, had the green lamp on. I was just in here
sweating.
I was in here like this, just fucking listening to this, and then that fucking transition from Swimming Pools to Sing About Me happened, and I was like, oh. I was like,
awakening.
Yeah, dude, I was like, Jesus Christ. And then that whole 12-minute song, Sing About Me, just one of the best ways of telling a story of all time over a hip-hop song. It's in the upper echelon of storytelling songs for hip-hop, in my opinion. And
keep some tissues handy, because you will you start tearing up.
The way that whole song's done with the cell phone, or like the voice recorded, like the skits kind of the kid getting shot and shit, like, goddamn.
It's deep.
It's deep. And that's like basically the end of like that's like the climax of the story, is this 12-minute masterpiece. And yeah, man, that all being said,
there it is.
I gotta go Good Kid, Mad City, man.
Oh.
I love Haram and I love Arm & Hammer,
Right.
but all of that matched up, they're both so hype. The albums are just so unreal in and of themselves, but I'm a sucker for a story, and just I had a legitimate, real reaction to that album this morning, and I was like,
that's powerful, dude.
Fuck, man. Yeah, I was like, I gotta go Good Kid, because it still does that. It's done that to me. That was like the 20th time I've had that happen because of this album, and I was like, it still affects me like it did when I was 15, 16 years old. Like I can't not. So
that's valid, man. Yeah. Like the way you went into and you were passionate about every song that you talked about. So I totally get that.
Sorry to hog the mic for. I sat there and did it. I was like, Jesus.
If you had a mic, you'd fucking slam that in the floor, because that was the best mic drop.
Thank you.
Damn, I don't know, man. I'm still toss up. I've thought about both of these tremendously, and honestly, as much as I love both these artists, amazing, everything they've done, their journeys, where they're still headed, there's both have very much still so much music I hope to make, because I'd want to keep listening to their new stuff. I'm gonna follow you on this, and I'm picking Kendrick.
Damn. All right.
I have much appreciation for Arm & Hammer. I brought it up for a reason.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, shout out to you for introducing me to it, and then we introduced him to it. Right. So shout out. Came full circle.
Right. Full circle. But yeah, I'm going Kendrick.
Yeah, and you're the one that has to Lenny and George it out back. Sorry, buddy. Nailed the cop in there. Matt, what do you got?
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
I think when you compare it, like you just did, track for track, each stands out in its own way. But for the hip hop bracket and what we're doing here and representing, I think Arm & Hammer is still a little too new to that. And for that reason, I think, Kendrick moves on.
Fuck yeah.
We all love Arm & Hammer, obviously. So.
It's a good point.
That's a very good point.
But when we're stacking hip hop artists as a whole, and we got Biggie on there and Pac's in there, and I mean, Kendrick's got to be somewhere still in there.
I thought about it. I was like, if you consider like 4 albums that kind of built the foundation of hip hop, like at like where we stand now, I was like, Kendrick Lamar was kind of the last cornerstone of that. And like this album in particular, you get, and I was like, you've got like Ready to Die / All Eyes on Me. Like those 2 albums are one cornerstone. That leading into like fucking 36 and Tribe and all of that's the other one, and then you get like
the new school, like the stuff that and Kendrick is it.
Yeah. So very I thought I was gonna go through all of that work and have you guys still be like, nah, Haram.
I was like, nah, we could end this man's whole career right now.
We can make this guy look like a fucking idiot, dude.
Leave the room.
You just gave an impassioned speech, but we're still that would have been
that would have been so good.
I was anticipating that. I was like, I'm gonna get on a little soapbox about this, and I was like, I compared them. I did all the work. I was like, if they vote Haram, I don't care. I was like, if any of them go through, that's fine. I personally, but yeah,
we did it.
We did it. Good Kid, Mad City goes on, and I am 3 for 3 on the day.
Look at you bragging over there.
I'm just keeping track.
Wow.
This has been this one page in my notebook. It's like so just.
We're seeing the bracket full time. You see that?
Yeah. This is it.
There it is.
Anyway, we move on to a Matt on Matt matchup with All Eyez on Me.
I won't deny it.
By Tupac going up against.
I did bring it.
You did?
Yes.
Mr.
Mos Def, Black on Both Sides.
Yeah.
Where do we go now? Where do we start?
Where do we go now? I don't know where you go with these two.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of another dance.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No, really. It is.
I think Mos Def, though, like I've said before, doesn't get enough credit for what he's done to the hip hop community with his debut, with this album, with all the things that he's collaborated with and inspired, and I don't know. So many people recognize him as being a good one, as a good MC and as a good lyricist, but I don't think he gets that overall love in the hip hop community,
right?
Like some of the other ones do. But you're like, oh,
yeah,
what Drake? Who?
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Yeah,
come on, man. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, that is, and the work that he did as Black Star too. That's like Mos Def's been in it, and I feel like he has just always been in the background for some reason or another. And it's like he's like one of those guys that's just constantly putting stuff out.
Yeah,
and then even this, it's like hard to find people talking about Black on Both Sides. You know what I mean? As far as the best albums of all time. Great that they talk about, this is Black Star. Yeah. Or whatever. It was in this bracket. But this is the superior album out of the two, for sure. And it's just funny to me that this does, because I started looking because you brought up the point last time, you're like, this album is so underrated. Like, you're like, I'm just glad we keep getting to, you said something like, we keep getting to talk about it at this point. And it is. I was like, damn. That's so wild. That's like crazy to me.
I really like that he kind of has that luxury where like the real like hip hop heads, like people that listen to hip hop and underground hip hop can look at this and say, hey, that's one of Mos Def's best albums,
right?
Probably his best album.
Yeah.
Like, even considering Black Star, like this is such a good album for him, and it does get swept under the rug. I don't know if it's because he wasn't too, I guess, popular, like he wasn't in mainstream a lot, or like
the year it came out.
The year also 99, like
timing.
It's a turning of the like
ahead of its time,
like a last one for the 90s going into 2000. So yeah, it's kind of in that weird area where it's like people know about it, but not enough to like put it in. Or say that like it's one of the best hip hop albums, but it definitely is.
And once you hear it, I think you get that appreciation immediately. You're like, "What the hell was I not?"
Where has this been?
Exactly.
Yeah, like and it's again, to use the word timeless. Like it's got a timeless feel to it. It holds a candle to stuff that was released yesterday and 3-4 years prior to its release. I was like, damn, this could have been up there with like Low End Theory, and like it could have been a contender for like fucking All Eyez on Me, like had they been out at the same time.
I was looking at it just now. It also has it has great production. Obviously, it has Primo, it has a bunch of these other producers. It has really also great features, Q-Tip on it.
Yep.
And then also another Tribe member, isn't it? Or no, sorry, Busta. He featured on that song. Yeah. Talib Kweli, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very timeless. A lot of it is also has really classic songs. Mathematics with that Premier piano beat. You have what song is that? Miss Fat Booty.
Yeah.
That ends up just got sampled recently by Jid. So it's still I feel like it is if you're talking about hip hop, it has to be in the conversation. It has to be at the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then comparing it to what it's battling is not really comparing anything.
No, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough, and this is a tough. It's not like, I guess it's not a tough realization for me, but it just kind of cemented that I don't like. Tupac's not one of my favorites.
Dude, I know you're gonna say that. Just say it.
Yeah, like he's
Don't
just not.
Sugarcoat it.
No, and this isn't me sugarcoating it. It's like, I respect him for what he is, but I think it was just like an overexposure after, getting an enjoyable. I was already, and it wasn't. I don't give a fuck about hip hop beefs. I'm not in hip hop,
Right.
I'm just a fan.
Yeah.
I have ranted and raved about All Eyes on Me up until this point, But it's like, I was thinking about it and I was like, this, I was like, he also has two other, like, he has great albums, like, Machiavelli, like,
even before this,
yeah.
Me Against the World.
Yeah, Me Against the World. Yeah, there's better, like, he had, or not better albums. This is his best in my opinion, but I was like, yeah, I think I just got like overexposed to it after a while, because I like places I worked would play him all the time, and I was like, nah, I personally like Biggie. I think I was just by happenstance in a lot of Tupac situations. Mm-hmm. I love him. I think he's like, he's one of the best, but me personally, it's just like, I don't go out of my way a lot of the time to listen to him. So
there you
but Mos Def is like a very, like I said, Black Star, I kind of got into them when I first got back, fully into hip hop again, after a hiatus from the genre. So I've been with Mos Def, and then, you introduced me to Black on Both Sides as like a whole project, and yeah, it's just too good. It's just too good of a project.
I will not take any Tupac slander in this household. Tupac is the best. I think Tupac, I mean, come on, man. If we're talking about a hip hop bracket, Tupac is hip hop. Mm-hmm. I've said that millions of times. No. But Tupac is the embodiment of hip hop in a way that he like popularized it so much, and it was like such a big deal coming from like the West Coast, like on the West Coast side.
Yeah.
If we're thinking about the West Coast side, you think of the earlier stuff like Straight Outta Compton with them and Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, but Tupac, he's in that also. Yeah. He's in that picture. So I think he has to be in the bracket. Mm-hmm. I think him going up against Mos Def, it's hard because Mos Def, I think, lyrically has an edge on him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, 100%.
But Tupac, he has just like the credibility. Mm-hmm. Like he has the street cred, literally.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
You're right. Lyrically, Mos Def has an edge.
I think Mos Def.
I think he's talking about multiple things. There's no thug mentality to where that's kind of what you're limited to in that genre because you're rapping about the same style of things. Whereas Mos Def is rapping about Star Wars and like random things, and making it sound so unique and memorable. But I love Tupac. I'm gonna fight to the death for Tupac because besides NWA, Tupac was like, that's me growing up and like getting introduced to hip hop and rap. Those are the two staples for me. And I don't think this album for me is my favorite Tupac album. Mm-hmm. I think the one before this would probably be my favorite because it's got a lot of hidden gems in there, and this is more like very thuggish, and I think that's when that mentality took a hold of him, and you can feel it throughout the album. But there's so many good features with Snoop and everybody on this album that it's hard not to have it in that top bracket spot. Man, I don't even know what to vote.
I don't want to stir anyone's decisions, but 3 of these albums today that we've talked about have Wu-Tang features on them.
Method Man is on Tupac, right?
Yep. See what I did there? No,
Tupac fucking scumbag.
Planting seeds, dude.
Just call me Johnny fucking Appleseed, baby. Piece of shit.
Matt's going Tupac. Dorian.
Did you say you're going?
I don't know.
He hasn't voted.
Oh, you haven't voted.
No, he said he doesn't even know what to vote.
You were about to insult me that you were going for Tupac, but I was like, you got Tupac.
Yeah. I don't know how to say one is better than the other because they're different. I think that's the same argument I've made multiple times about our matchups. But, Tupac is one of my favorites. Black on Both Sides is one of my favorite albums of all time in that genre, too. So I'm going to let you guys vote first.
Okay.
I
respect it. Yeah, I will respect that decision. Fuck. And it's...
You guys do it.
There's reasons. There's. I think that. So this.
I mean, you already told us you hate Tupac.
I didn't say I hated him. Holy shit!
You were slandering.
I'm glad he died. Oh my god! Fucking clip it.
Yeah. Why don't you just show Ready to Die again? Just throw
Oh my god, yes. No, I don't. It's so. That's the thing, though, is real recognize real, and I ain't no pukester. So the fact that that's the case with me, and being in that position where it's like I can't not respect that, and his just what he did for hip hop and everything, like. Everybody that we listen to now since him is influenced directly by him.
Right.
And he had a beef and was friends with Biggie, one of like my side of the coin. So it's nuts. And the fact that that's the case to where I feel as if I've been overexposed to an artist says something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, and I feel like I have voted albums through for various reasons, and for that reason alone I'm gonna add another one. I think I gotta push Tupac through, because that's fucking you gotta respect that. Like you have like Mos Def, like I said, I love Mos Def. I am very happy that I've got introduced to Black on Both Sides, but there's something to that, to where it's like I'm completely like one of them. I claim to be such a huge fan of hip hop and one of the biggest in the game. I don't go out of my way, it's like that's because I feel as if I've gotten my fill of it,
Good argument.
So with that, it's not out of spite or anything. It's like I respect the fuck out of that. I gotta push that through, and it's my favorite album of his, so I'm pushing it through. Or giving my vote to it.
I was not seeing you vote Tupac.
I 100% know you were.
Not even before this, but I was like, in general, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking of the bracket. I'm like, Tupac is definitely going to be there. And then when I saw it when I was going against Mos Def, I was like, I think Dorian's more of a Mos Def fan. And I'm kind of also more of a Mos Def fan. But going back into these, I didn't think, I'll put my vote in. I'm going Tupac as well. But I didn't think it would be such a landslide.
Yeah.
I love Tupac.
Yeah.
I was thinking it would be close if we had more people. Maybe you would see a little bit more variety. Yeah. But I'm going Tupac, and I think, was that your vote?
That is my vote.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this was another matchup that I was like, I think Tupac's gonna win, but it's not. I was like, I think I'm gonna vote Black on Both Sides, and then I finally spilled my guts, and I was like, I don't listen to him that much anymore. I just don't. And then I thought I like actually mulled that over in my head as to why, and I was like, that's bananas to think about. I was like, so shout out.
It's a crazy point to bring up, because you respect it so much, where you kind of just like, you had its moment with it. For me, at least, I had my moment with it, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of past that.
Yeah, I don't go back to it.
But if I come back to it, I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah. Like anytime
I get sucked back into my old me. I'm like,
anytime Ambitions as a writer, happens to come on, I'm like, let this fucking eat. I'm like, this is one of the greatest songs ever. But yeah, it's like one of those I don't go out of my way to listen to that much anymore. I think it is, kind of, I've ingested so much new hip hop since I kind of was very into that albums that it's like I've fallen in love with 7 albums since, like, that kind of thing. Yeah. So with that being said, All Eyes on Me moves on, and we get the Best of the West coming up.
There it is.
Once we get back to that side. But it's the Final Four. The semifinals, basically. The semifinals, we've got 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan going up against Ready to Die by Biggie. This is the biggest. This is Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah, this is like a monster
Yeah.
matchup.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you put these against each other?
Yeah. Like, this is a tough one for just anybody. If we had anybody here to, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I think it's an easy push. I'm not going to say who.
Yeah.
And I think it's based on what we just talked with our argument on the last pick.
Yeah.
And what that means to hip hop as a whole.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, solid all the way through. You brought up some great points about all the different tracks start to finish.
Yeah.
Ready to Die. Ain't No Biggie.
Yeah.
Is one of the greatest hip hop albums. Probably I would lean towards that being my favorite rather than All Eyez on Me as an album.
Me as well.
100%.
Yeah.
So my argument's going to probably stick with that probably until the very end of the bracket, depending on what it matches up against.
Right.
Biggie is hip hop, even though it wasn't a long career. It was a staple and an imprint on hip hop that will never be overshadowed by anybody. Nobody's ever sounded like Biggie.
No,
I don't think it's gonna be duplicated either. It's
and just the overall, like, just the, what is it, like, the theme of the album, not like it's not like this is a themed album, but just like the thematic elements to it, the storytelling to Ready to Die, there's a lot of really good, like, sampling on it, like with the pager noise on Warning, it's almost ahead of its time, really.
Sure.
For 1994, and then it is almost, it kind of almost leans toward being like a concept album at times, with the samples kind of telling a story in between shit, and then it's just like the biggest kind of in your face, like, what the fuck is up? Like, it's just like, I feel like it's just a Biggie flex the whole time, this album. He's just like, what's up, motherfuckers? Like, he's like,
so hella braggadocious,
and it's just so to its core badass. It's just, it does not get better than this.
The flip on Big Papa of the Eyez brothers, Between the Sheets, sampling that, like, no one else can touch that song anymore, because it's been used to its maximum. It has Biggie Smalls and on that fucking song, like a R&B song to a hip-hop song. It's fucking beautiful. Like, when producers can do that and create such a different song from the same little sample, so it's hard to replicate. But I think you can say the same thing about Wu-Tang. Yeah. Like,
sure.
What kind of group nowadays, and even looking at hip-hop, what kind of group is going to represent, again, another, like, 10-member group where there's just every single one. They have the producers, they have all the rappers, they have the crazy one, they have everything.
That's
impossible.
That's where it gets nuts to think about, really.
Like, Odd Future doesn't hold a candle.
No.
Brockhampton doesn't hold a candle. All these other groups, like, sure, they're good. To even get close to this, you'd have to bring a super group, like something like fucking Perfect Circle. Like, have, like, Kendrick and, like, Dr. Dre producing, and then Eminem, and then, 50 Cent. That's how close you'd have to get to get to what Wu-Tang did.
Yep.
Right.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
Jacob hates Biggie Smalls. You piece of shit.
The pitchforks are back on me now.
Jacob hates Biggie. No. That is a hell of a point. But, god damn it. I'm not going to let you do it again, man. I was gonna push ATLiens through earlier. What the fuck? We're not doing this.
We're not doing this again.
I mean, it's just but it was like, oh man, it's just the fucking. They're both so insanely influential that it's so hard to do.
Good argument.
Like, but it's so difficult, and then to think, of like the like ODB and like everybody that came out, you know, we've talked about that a couple of times during the bracket. Like, you know, you had Liquid Swords, Ghostface, his whole career,
Cuban Links, everything.
yeah, Cuban Links. Like, what the hell, dude? But I mean, it's fucking Ready to Die, man. It's fucking, it's Machine Gun Funk. It's
Shot ya.
Who shot?
Yeah, who shot ya?
Separate the weak from the opposite.
Yeah, give me the like. You just throw a dart, man. Fucking. God damn it. God. Okay, so that's the podcast. We're quitting. It's over.
We've been into both of these so much already that I'm running out of things to say.
Yeah, I think I think at this rate we just kind of give a reason why and maybe just push one through.
Oh shit. Okay.
And just kind of like, I vote this and this is why. For me, I'm going Ready to Die because it's been
fair.
Out of all of the classic hip hop albums, that's been mine. Like, that's mine. From the album cover to everything about it, and just what it did. It was
probably the most iconic Baby cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Other than this one, the baby.
The Baby.
No, and just the fact that it was an absolute Optimus Prime fist right to hip hop
Still is, always will be.
Yeah. It's just influence is massive. So I personally vote Ready to Die for that reason.
Yeah, since I grew up in high school in the East Coast, West Coast beef. So hip hop was really prominent in that time, and for that reason alone, Ready to Die stands out for me as one of the best of all time.
You guys turned on me terribly. This was mine that I was
your champion.
This was my ticket, man. I just put everything on black and lost.
Jacob found a guy doing bets for the bracket.
Yeah.
Somehow one of you out there leaked. Just has a betting ring.
My DraftKings fucking. Yeah, I was gonna go Wu-Tang just because I've been on that bandwagon and I've been advocating for them tremendously. But Biggie deserves to go through. I feel like. Just for him as a standpoint for hip hop, we've already said it. He had such a staple. When you think about hip hop and East Coast, he is probably the first thing that comes up. Yeah, like Wu-Tang, yes, but still, not a lot of people, are really really big. If they're into hip hop, they'll hear Wu-Tang, they'll think it's like a movie or something. I don't know.
But like a kung fu thing.
Yeah, it is very kung fu there. This album, but Biggie Smalls is just for the popularity that he had. The co-sign with Diddy, and everything that was on it. I mean, in part, I'll take the win just because Method Man's on your album, so he's still carrying the torch. He's got the banners,
right?
But yeah,
Ready to Die. Cool. Ready to Die moves on to the finals.
Dun-dun, we got our first final.
When we got our first final album. Oh God! All right. Well, at least I'm in the finals. At least one of my picks is in the finals. This next one, I feel like I know how it's gonna go, but I feel kind of the same about this as Jacob did about the last one. My thing still holds. My impassioned "the British are coming" speech. Yeah. I think that's. I don't want to overdo it. I think that's like.
No, I think that means a lot too. It shows how much that influenced you and your appreciation for this genre and for that artist and for it being a part of your life as a whole. I think a lot of these artists have that impact on all of us in separate ways. So
yeah, and so I'll just cast my vote early, and I'll let you guys bicker it out. I'm putting everything on Good Kid. So
of course you are.
Good kid.
You're a good kid.
Over a pot, huh?
Yep.
You gotta have one. You gotta have one, man. We can't push both through. And that's what's hard. That's what's tricky.
That would be the most predictable outcome of all time. I'm surprised. But I was like, I was thinking, watch it be Haram Ready to Die. That'd be fucking hilarious. I was thinking that, but then I really sat down and did the meat and potatoes of it. But that would be hilarious if it just ended up being All Eyes on Me versus Ready to Die. That's why I'm like, I gotta vote Good Kid. Dun, dun,
To both albums, you know. You'd say Kendrick was 21 when he did this album. Tupac was probably 24, 25. I think he was 25 when he died. So very early on in their adolescent life and like growing into who they are as artists, you know. And luckily Kendrick's, you know, still alive and doing well.
Yeah.
You know, but Tupac being cut down and not being able to like do more, it kind of cements this as one of those albums. Just like it's just finesse, like the Jeff Buckley's Grace. It's like this finale album, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't know that.
What's it called? The bird song or something like that?
Swan Song.
Swan song.
Yeah, there we go.
It's like swan song.
Real quick, speaking of Jeff Buckley, was listening to a comedy podcast and they ended up like going off on a tangent about Grace.
Oh, really?
And like how Jeff Buckley died, like they were telling one of the other guys the story of it. And I was like, oh damn. And then they're like, but Grace, fantastic fucking album. I was like, hell yeah, shout out Jeff.
Mojo Pin? Okay.
But yeah, the Swan Song thing kind of.
It is, yeah. That's the like the strange part, I guess, about sometimes with music, like when an artist makes music and, you know, they pass shortly after, like it gets appraised so much more as like, oh, this was like, you know, his final like calling, and then anything afterwards that comes out, you're like, sure, like glad it's out, it had to be out, but like, is it the same? Does it have the same feeling? Are you like, oh, is this just because it was a money grab, like they just wanted to put it out there, or do they actually like want to have people listen to it, you know, and could make it even more memorable? But it's already like, it's Tupac, like this album kind of, and its iconic image like is him and everything that like he represented, everything even afterwards. It's like, sure, but this was, you know, prime Tupac when he was you know, at the pinnacle of, you know, in a sense his career, also popularity, mainstream, everything. So yeah, man. And then you have Kendrick. It's kind of same for him, but more recently, you know, everything he was doing with the Grammys and like all his shows and
this started off an insane 3-album run. Like this To Pimp a Butterfly and Damn, that 3-album run is fucking elite.
To Pimp a Butterfly is still regarded as, like, by a lot of people, one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. And I mean, with good reasoning, like everything on that album, the production, everything. But I mean, yeah, man, we're talking about a timeless classic, and then one that's very much a classic, but it's still kind of, we're still seeing it unfold. We're still seeing Kendrick, you know.
Like, where will, when it's all said and done for his discography, where will it stack, you know, against, you know, it already being a stacked fucking discography with what you just said about T-Pab. But what you mean by that?
What you mean? Yeah, what you mean by that?
What you mean by that?
Who wants to be the bad guy?
Who wants to be the bad guy?
I'm going. I already voted.
He's already voted.
Yeah, I voted Good
I'm
Kid.
going Pac because it's just my guy. So,
I should have gone first.
No, what you got?
I should have gone first. Now I'm nervous.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's let you throw your lane, man.
Yeah, I think if I don't pick Tupac, Matt's gonna hold me down outside and
Knock your sparking
rob me in the
I
parking
think
lot.
both of them deserve to move on in their own respects. I think it's just a matter of, you know, you gravitating towards that, having an influence for you in a lot of ways. Same thing for me. Same argument.
Yeah.
Different time frame.
Same shit, different toilet.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Well, mate.
The only argument I give, I would, you know, both of these should move on, definitely. But the only argument I give, for me personally, I like some of Kendrick's other work more.
Of course. That sounds about right.
Like To Pimp a Butterfly, I'm in that group. I think it's one of the best hip hop albums of all time.
Same.
So for that reason, I'm going Tupac, because I think Tupac is our face, at least in West Coast. He is hip hop over here. He represented it so well from the difference of the East and West, the different coasts colliding and having that beef, and rapping about each other. Biggie Smalls, him doing that, and then Tupac doing this. Probably made one of the craziest fucking diss tracks of all time. So I'm going Tupac, man. I'm sorry.
It's all good. Shout out. Tupac moves on. And we are in the final.
The finale.
It has come down to this.
I didn't think we would do it. I didn't think we would go I didn't think we'd have the predictable outcome, but here we are. Hey. It had all of these. Hey, every album deserved to do what it did. All Eyez on Me and Ready to Die. This is a good first bracket.
It was.
Some unreal shit went through.
Very stereotypical.
This kind of is.
Yeah.
But I don't think we planned it to happen that way at all.
No. This is not years. We didn't go bi-weekly so we could act like, do storyboard writing for the hip hop bracket.
Yeah, right.
This is all unplanned. If you guys could see my notes, there's so much shit scratched out through every round because I've just eaten my own dick for the past 3 weeks. But yeah, All Eyez on Me moves on and is going up against Ready to Die.
This is the hip hop conversation.
This is it.
And everyone has.
People argue and fights.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, this is why I'm not irate about this right now. It's because this is the first hip hop bracket we're gonna do. I assume we'll do more.
Yeah.
It makes sense that both of these made it onto the first bracket in the first place. Obviously, Ready to Die. Obviously. Then what else are you going to bring up? If that's already on the bracket, All Eyez on Me.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. So no surprise to anybody that they're on the first bracket. And if that's the case and you're going to do multiple of these, you might as well, that's going to be the case.
This one in there, yeah.
Get it in there. Pit them up. That's what the fans want, probably. That's what the people at home want.
Yep.
This is fucking Monday Night Raw now. We're going to start cutting promos. I already cut a promo for Good Kid, Mad City and then got fucking Of Mice and Men out back. But yeah, let's open it up. Let's open up this can of whoop ass. This is when it gets really hard because, then you do kind of start thinking about it. And it's like, no matter what I feel personally now, it's like the fact is these two albums were it,
in a sense.
The only, for a while, the only hip hop I was really exposed to was stuff that was on the radio and radio friendly. So Nelly and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then these two albums. And I remember Big Papa from when I was super young. I remember all these just Tupac in general. Come to find out a lot of it was this album.
Right.
Now it's I'm in a rock and a hard place now too, because it's damn. And then of course the influence, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is golden age hip hop to its peak. When people think about talking about who's the greatest of all time in hip hop.
Yeah.
It somehow narrows down to this. It's either, Biggie and Tupac, or Tupac and Nas, or Nas and, X. It's always one of these two coming up in that talk. So, I mean, we have that reference. We have that East-West. Which one's better? We have different styles, different rapping, different, production. I don't know, man.
And it's kind of this was it. This, because of these two, this kind of genre of hip hop was there and gone kind of pretty quickly. It moved so far away from this, because then it became 50 Cent and that was super modernized in comparison. If they could have heard, what came out and was considered the same hip hop, gangster rap, whatever you want to call it, which in my opinion, the best frame of reference for that would be 50 Cent.
Sure.
They'd be what the fuck? This is from the future, this is so wild. And then,
true. Yeah.
things, the other guys that came out in that, and then, even to get out of gangster rap, the Tribe Called Quest's, they were kind of already doing their thing, but how they progressed.
Yep.
And then just everything as a whole, they'd be like, what the hell? Because this kind of genre was just so fleeting, it feels like, Like, these two albums, as we kind of said, haven't been replicated, like, will never be replicated. Right. And things that sounded like this, other than, like, Wu-Tang, like, weren't around for very long.
Yeah.
Which says something for both of them, Like,
Sure.
the fact that the two greats... 2 albums that can't ever be touched, like replicated, and this is every hip hop bracket ends up being this. Like, that's
there's reasons behind that.
that's dumb as hell. It's just how it works.
It's how it works. And there's solid arguments for both albums.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, you got the West Coast style, you got the East Coast style, you got that setting that they both displayed and like kind of recognizing that's what they were portraying and like getting on that bandwagon, like having other artists jump on that wagon. And that's why there's so many features on the Pac album. I mean, there's people that I'd never heard of, and then they didn't have any features. Yeah, exactly. So everybody just gravitated towards him because, like you said, he was West Coast hip hop in the 90s or the mid 90s or early 90s, I should say. And then Biggie on the East Coast doing his own thing and coming out of nowhere and just cementing himself with this album being like, boom, and there's more to come, and having that, influence many people and bringing that East Coast style out a little bit more and having more artists come out of that area. Because a lot of people that were on the West Coast maybe didn't listen to that. I know I didn't.
Yeah.
Besides, listening to, Wu-Tang and stuff like that. But other than that, I wasn't really into the East Coast side besides Biggie. Because, in high school, I did listen to both sides. Didn't have a favorite. Respected both sides, And I think growing up around people that liked hip-hop at that time, they did have that, like, oh, I just like Biggie.
Yeah.
I'm just a Pac fan, and this is why, And I don't think you can say that you like either one over the other for what they do, because they're both great hip hop artists.
Yeah.
And they both rap differently, and they both have different mentalities on what they're saying and how they're meaning it. Pac more, they're both poetic, but I feel like Tupac's more poetic because he had that acting side, and he's more like a little deeper in the sense, whereas Biggie is more like street and can make it more relatable. I think that's why so many people caught on, because he made it relatable.
Right.
To people like me that didn't know that lifestyle as much back at that time.
It's like the Dodgers versus the Yankees. Like, this is it. Like, this is where, people's feelings, emotions come out. Because, some people feel really strongly towards one or the other.
Yeah.
Not only just their styles, but what they represent. Like, I feel like I had friends in high school that all they listened to was Tupac, and they kind of like adopted that mentality, that
like very much identified with it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Yeah, very much so. And that really, again, says something. To have people
that much power that it has on you.
Like, the amount of just shirts and posters of Tupac that are like in every smoke shop in America, like every 7-Eleven that has t-shirt, the t-shirt rack in the corner, there's always some airbrushed picture of Tupac on a black t-shirt. Like, that's unreal.
It's everywhere, and I feel like this, because we see it here on the West Coast, I feel like on the East Coast just as much. In that time frame, that's something people were kind of leaning towards, and especially for hip hop, like, for them to be so close, these albums, like the same time that they were making them, they're only like a year or two apart, right? But
close,
they're like still like, it just cemented what hip hop was going through at that time, and they had that phase. I mean, we had the Tribe, we had the De La Soul, and then we're moving into a new age with this kind of like gangsta rap and like street rap. So it's cool seeing that like transition and like the where it was moving at the time, but these guys were moving that train, they were the face of it.
Right.
Very much so. I think I'll go on another little monologue unprepared. I'm going to freestyle a monologue for y'all and give my vote at the end.
Whoa.
I think insane points, the Tupac thing, the popularity behind that and everything, is something to be said. The amount of songs off of this, off of Ready to Die in particular, that have made ad campaigns as early as like a Super Bowl ago. Like Big Popper, Juicy was used. The amount of people that you reference this or even say Biggie, like so many people know, like can just know like a line from this album and all of that stuff. Like it's equally as huge. Tupac as a whole, I think his story, and I think it is because he was viewed more as a deeper thinker kind of with his rap and more of a poet and more of like a true artist and everything. I think that's what lends to his more character and like image being more popular than Biggie's per se. So also Biggie he has that line or something about like being dark and ugly, which is, you know, he wasn't exactly pleasing to the eyes. Tupac was a good looking dude. Right. So there's also that. But the fact that the content of this album is as popular as it is and will just continue to be forever because just the accessibility of music and marketing campaigns being as aggressive as they are, his music's just going to continue to be used until the end of time. So I put my vote on Ready to Die for that alone. Shout out Tupac. Like I just said, he's one of the biggest American icons of all time, up there with the Bob Marleys, the Albert, you know, the Chuck Norris's, and then Tupac. Sure. Bob Ross. Like you go to Spencer's, there's Bob Marley, Bob Ross, and Tupac t-shirts, and then Johnny Cash flipping off the camera. Those are the 4 t-shirts in every Walmart and Spencer's Gifts in America. Yeah. Shout out to him, but I gotta go with Ready to Die.
Yeah, that's funny. That's really funny. And that's true. He's everywhere. Tupac is everywhere. Biggie is also everywhere. This is a coin toss for me, honestly, because I'm right there with you, man. I love Biggie. I think he's definitely more lyrical. I think Tupac has more delivery, and just a lot more just rawness to him. But Biggie Smalls, he was like such a pure lyricist in the purest form.
And just the flow master.
Yeah, the flow master. Everything, his lyrics, like they all have meaning. Like he has, you know, some crazy wordplay. Tupac though, man, like just the feature list on this, everything on it, it was so massive, it was huge. It's like 2 hours long, like it's stupidly long, and all the everything on it. I want to say Tupac, but I'm going Biggie.
Damn.
And I'm going Biggie because when I was growing up listening to hip hop, I listened to Tupac, I listened to Biggie, but I was listening way more to Biggie and way more East Coast because I felt like it was more lyrical. They were kind of more thought out than the West Coast at times. West Coast like more bouncier. Like Snoop Dogg was bouncy, he was lyrical also. Dre kind of more bouncy with the G-funk and everything. But for me, I'm going Biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said in our last matchup, like if I had to compare Ready to Die and All Eyes on Me, Ready to Die's gonna win. Yeah. Just as a solid album, and not having it was more accessible for hip hop in a whole.
Yeah.
All Eyes on Me is a long album, like I said, 2 hours. And for me, it's one of my favorite albums, but when I'm having to compare them for the bracket, that's my choice.
Hell yeah! Shout out, Ready to Die.
Number 1.
Moves on, baby. Good old Ready to Die, baby. Woo! Hell yeah. First bracket is in.
There it is.
The friggity frackin' books, dudes.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I'll still take a dub. I'm taking a W because my boy Method Man is on that and on also All Eyes on Me. So Wu-Tang still...
Wu-Tang wins.
Wu-Tang had a foot in the
Third place.
You know, Wu-Tang had a little something.
Wu-Tang probably by proxy would have been like they would have gone into the consolation bracket, and I feel like Wu-Tang probably would have been like third place for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Hell yeah. Well, that's it for the Whatchu Spinnin hip hop bracket. We're going to run a quick commercial and then be right back to go back to the good old days of the OG formula and introduce our albums for next episode. It's Whatchu Spinnin, the end of the hip hop bracketology, baby. Peace. I mean, that's why it's predictable, is because it's the only thing that makes sense to do. We're a very hip-hop heavy podcast.
We old heads with our hip hop. Oh shit.
Ouch. Do we all own our picks?
I own mine.
I do, but I didn't bring it.
Nice.
You said you didn't own yours?
I don't.
You did? No.
It will be here next week, though, hopefully. It's what I bought on Discogs, so.
Oh, you had already thought this.
You already had it.
I had a couple, and then I was like, whatever I decide, excuse me, because we just listened to the same albums for so long, I didn't, like, me listening to Haram and Good Kid was my note-taking, because I was, like, so familiar with everything by that point, that the past month, I've just been listening to whatever. Like, whatever the fuck.
Everything, yeah.
And so I fell in love with, like, 4 different albums in that time frame, and like fell back in love with one, discovered 3 more that I fucking love now. And so I was like thinking about it and was on Discogs, and all of the ones I wanted were very similar priced, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I went and was thinking about it, and I was like, well, what have I been listening to this week a lot? And so I went with that and bought it, and I was like, that's what I'll do for the podcast, so that way by the time it comes it'll be so. But who wants to go first?
I'll start off.
Go ahead.
Going with an album from 2008 from My Morning Jacket called Evil Urges.
Nice.
Yes. One of my favorite albums. They have quite a few.
Nice.
Wait, what's the cover at the front of it? I have not heard that one. Wow.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Let me tell you.
I've heard their newer stuff. Okay.
I think American Dad used a lot of songs on that album in one of their episodes.
Hell yeah.
One of their seasons. Nice.
Jake, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So,
do you have yours?
I do own mine. I didn't bring it. I'm prepared. But I am picking 2017 Daniel Caesar's Freudian.
Damn.
Freudian?
Freudian?
Yeah. Okay. Freudian?
Freudian.
Yeah.
It's some R&B.
Nice. Okay. Fuck yeah.
Getting back into the
I
R&B.
almost went Dorian. I almost went Dorian Jones. I almost kind of went.
Did I see your pick?
No.
Or your genre?
No.
Bring that up soon, though.
No. I almost brought up Private Space. But instead, I'm going with shout out Matt for reminding me of, or not really reminding me, but mentioning this band because he found out about him, and I was like, ooh, let me listen to that album. I'm going Joy as an Act of Resistance by Eyez.
Oh, nice.
Released in 2018. I call them aggressively British kind of punk music, just fucking very out there. They're kind of a hodgepodge, but more kind of like just British.
They're fucking great.
They are like British punk leaning almost.
They gave me a message on the end of my Wrapped thing on Spotify, the singer, because I think that's one of my most listened to. Like, hey, thanks for listening to us. We appreciate you. I was like, that's cool.
That's awesome. But yeah, Joy is an Act of Resistance, released in 2018 by Eyez. It'll be a fun one. I've got it coming. So
Nice.
Sick. But anyway, fuck yeah, dudes.
Back to it.
We did it. How do we feel? How do we feel about the first bracket?
Good. I'm excited for another one.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think after episode Hundo, we'll do maybe a non-hip hop bracket.
Yeah, we'll do a different genre.
Different genre.
Brackets, dude. Brackets are so fun.
Mm-hmm.
We can pick our banner who we're rooting for. Mm-hmm. I think this hip hop bracket was kind of expected in a way, just because it's so popular.
It's a good start, though. It is. It's good to have it out of the way.
I like that format, and I'm excited for the next one.
Hell yeah, I do agree. It was a lot of fun to do, and revisit some stuff, and kind of it was almost like every 2 weeks we'd get like a refresher, and I was appalled that Makami went through, and then the next round I voted them through. Like that's kind of cool, So that's kind of cool that it can play out that way. But hell yeah, thanks for sticking around with the bracket. Also, real quick, because we are on Spotify, they did a Wrapped for podcasters, so I actually got to see some stats where there's like maybe 5 to 10 of you that were like in your top at least 10 podcasts for 2023. Shout out to you.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Also, we are on Apple Podcasts now, so check us out at Whatchu Spinnin over there. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Whatchu Spinnin. Follow me on Instagram, Dorian Dilly. I'm posting music shit, plugging the podcast. Follow Matt at MT Tables and at Vinyl Tables, and just like and subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. Word of mouth is pretty fucking awesome for podcasts, especially one like us. We will be back in 2 weeks to bring you some more album coverage. I'm Dorian, that's Jake, that's Matt. Stay dry, stay warm, stay hydrated. Peace out.